Okay, this is the after chapter discussion for 10.40 and 10.41T. We'll just start it off right off the bat with any general impressions people have. So if about both chapters, we'll do the discussion really about both chapters at once because honestly they're just a continuation of they're just two stories combined basically. It's all one arc. So we'll just talk about both chapters. If you guys have any general impressions, go ahead and put them in reactions and comments. And if you want to talk, just ping me and I'll call you on you and you can talk. Otherwise, I will give my general impression here. I really love these two chapters. Seeing Torn again has been an absolute treat. It's been so long since we got any Torn content. Like, really, Volume 7 was the last time we saw, like, dedicated Torn content. We've got him a couple times in Volume 8 and a couple times in Volume 9, but nothing where he was the center of attention. And since Volume 6 ended, I've been wanting more Torn. I always want him to come back eventually and meet Eren again. Like, that's ultimately what I want from him in some capacity, but that is going to be a long time. But anyways, back to these two chapters. I really thought just the way Torn was written just felt very good and very interesting, especially his focus on the job economy and how he's dealing with that. It was comedic but sad at the same time. And I really love seeing it. End of the second chapter, 10.41, where he's kicking Nerhavia's butt and deciding to quit. Very cathartic. I'm very glad he decided no on Nerhavia because Nerhavia, stinky. She's stinky. We all know it. We all know it. Anyway, so those are my general impressions. Let's go with what other people say. Bleachel, you're up first.
Yeah, I really love these chapters. I really liked how the contrast between Eren and Naravia, and also Doran and Naravia, and how Thorin learned from Doran how to do some things, and he and luckily he has like his good friend the slime to guide him into his to give him the moral compass, because Slime was proud of him that he quit his job. And I mean, that punch to Naravia was the best thing that happened in this year in the Wandering Inn, as far as I'm concerned. That was so good, and he put her in her place. Yeah, and I'm also, it's fine that he lost all of his relics, so he can actually develop better skills and abilities. Also, it's been good. I mean, I really wanted like good torrent chapters, and Pirate has delivered, and then some, as far as I'm concerned. I had like a reservation about 40 because I didn't want him to do anything with Naravia, but then we see how he subtly, changed his opinion of her, even though she has like control over her stuff and she knows what she's doing and stuff. But he knows like she's utter crap and bullshit and evil. So yeah, I really like that kind of insight from him and his development. I really love it. Thank you.
Yeah, and his development, fantastic. These chapters, like, honestly, just fantastic. But the thing with just quitting and hitting Nerhavia, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Nerhavia is just absolutely.
I just
Nerhavia.
want yeah
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say also him beating Doran's aunt was also good. I was really appalled of how they treat him and how she spoke to him. So beating Naravia and beating Doran's aunt, and actually, I'm happy like Doran got away from them. That was also character development for Doran. So it was like a double whammy on the good part, at least.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Mafia Hamster. You're up next. Edron,
Yes.
what do you think about these chapters?
Awesome. My goodness. Where even to start? First chapter, seeing Torren again, the job hunting part, I couldn't stop laughing because I didn't even know there was an undead society out there with different groups searching for members. It was hilarious. Small thing, when he was at the inn and fighting with the other skeletons, there was an Hajime no Ippo reference with the dance roll. Loved it. But that was a small side note. The main thing from the first chapter was, of course, Doran. I have no idea how Pirate comes up with combining those story parts. It's who would have thought that he would end up there? Nobody. And it was again so perfect. They in a swoop they developed Doran, and even the scene of the goth. People loved the goth, and Pirate gave us more goth, and they developed everything just in one chapter. It was just awesome. The whole chapter was genius. I was saddened that he quit, but it obviously couldn't have been, because that would have been happiness, and Toron and happiness isn't really. He doesn't deserve that right now. Then comes the next chapter, and honestly, I forgot how evil Nahavia is. I really did. She is so charismatic and even kind of helpful sometimes and helped even Eren and other people, that you forget that she is a fucking monster. And seeing her in action again in this chapter really, really, really brings home that she is one of the scariest people in this goddamn world. And to able to punch her is something that millions and millions of people would have loved to do. And the goddamn skeleton did it. And made her genuinely angry and surprised. A goddamn skeleton. Yeah, awesome chapter, awesome end. I can't wait to see where this is gonna take him. Somebody wrote in the other Discord that the Silver Swords are in the New Lands. Torren also is in the New Lands. There is Ghost and Undead to command. So, we're gonna have a new Flower Girl. Calling it now. Alright. But yeah, both chapters were awesome.
Absolutely. They were amazing chapters. And I truly very much hope we do not get another Flower Girl. I don't want that kind of trauma in my life, I think I'm okay without that kind of trauma, perhaps, mayhaps.
It will happen.
Nope, it won't happen. Nope. Anyways, Kazah, you wanted to speak? Kazah?
Sorry, technical difficulties. So
You're
please,
fine.
skip me for now.
All right. I'll come back to you once we get through with everyone else. Dart Time Goose, or sorry, Wally says captivating and quirky. Dart Time Goose says it's fitting that he returned spring when Liscor was having torrential rain. I hate your puns. I hate them.
Oh
Hate.
my goodness.
Dart Time Goose also says, I mean, look at the names. Doran, Torin. Like Pelt meeting Palt. It was meant to be. Absolutely. You're right. You're right. That's true. That's true. Bleachso says, Pyro on the trolls with the names Torin and Doran. That's probably the exact reason why they did these two meeting up. Anyways, Sidehammer, you wanted to speak?
Yes. Yes, hello. Do I sound better than that before? Okay,
You sound perfectly good. Yeah.
cool. So, loved a lot about the chapters. I'm gonna start with the early stuff. Learning that there was an undead society, that was quite funny. Pretty intelligent. I liked seeing Doran again. Doran of Cormant's Grand Emporium of Antiques and Pawn Shop. That was my probably my favorite part of the first chapter. Was Torin in there doing and getting situated and being able to use the skills he had from the inn for the first time and feeling fulfilled about it. I was really awesome. But nothing compares to that. I mean, when he assaulted the old lady, the aunt, that was just hilarious and cathartic. But the goth parties, I think the goth parties were probably my favorite part of that. When I think about it, just everybody there in the dark and Gothica, just spreading her her blackness. Ooh, her shadows. Yeah, it's better. Her shadows everywhere. That was really hilarious. Um, I was not expecting, or I kind of hoped that he would stay there. Torn. I liked I like Torn, and I'm a simple, and I'm a little weepy bitch a lot of the time, and sympathetic and stuff. So I have forgiven him his dark ways. Or at least I hope. I hope Torn comes around. Basically, I want him to be a hero again, and I want him to meet Aaron, and I want him to be together again. So I'm always hoping that he's on a path to that, and it with the Emporium, it felt like he was on the path for that. So I had hoped he would stay there. But Narhabia is definitely interesting. An interesting POV. She's one of the people who understands the world much better, so it's fun to see her insights into leveling and using classes and how to work power in this particular world. So it was a great learning opportunity, I think, for Torn. I think it feels. I think Pirate's done a good job of giving Torin examples now of of just basically teaching him just basic stuff like empathy, sympathy. You know, this is cruel. I don't think the Torn from the dungeon you know, could have had those thoughts. So it's good to see Torn, uh, growing. And sorry, my roommate is making noise. Um, but it's great to see his development basically, and I really love that part. Um, and there was oh yeah, I have a note here. It says Narhabia, Jesus Christ, trying to make a goddess a sex slave to her general. That was crazy. She's super powerful and super cruel. And holy crap, man, that was insane. And then poor Rafima, I I consider her the merchant of dragons. She's always getting kicked around and beaten or losing stuff now, and so I feel very sorry for her. So I hope she gets out of that contract, whatever contract she made, very soon. That's it. That's all I got.
I I don't know I don't know what to say about the Casigna contract. It's like on one hand, Casigna deserves it. On the other hand, I don't think anyone deserves that. But Casigna is horrible, horrible person. But thank you, Sudhammer, for your impressions. Next up, Jotham, you wanted to speak? Jotham, are you there? If you're
Yep,
not,
I'm alive. I'm here. Was having technical difficulties.
go ahead. Go ahead.
This is one of those days. So this chapter, I think the main thing I want to say, like when Thorin started beating the stuff out of Thorin's hand, I was just laughing. And it felt really bad. But we all did like public facing jobs, and we all dealt with one of those times where you definitely want to pull the Thorin on some of those ladies or gentlemen. So it was kind of cathartic. Like I just felt like so good, but so guilty of that. Because she was literally beating an elderly lady. So I was laughing my ass off, man. Good for him, man. He came a long way after, like, from the days he started and the stuff he did in dungeon. Like he's doing much better now. And I love my guy for punching Naravia. For all his like self-loathing about Aaron, he's like slowly like developing some of our qualities. Good for Torn, man. And his like backstory, like the bones he got the guy from, that is crazy too. Like that guy was a literally freaking monster, and they just created a Torn from him. That's all.
All right, thank you, Jotham. Love Torin. He's great. We can all agree Torin is just great. I think that's what we're all coming away with. Is Torin is the best. All right, let me read out Kineas's impression. Kineas says, "I enjoyed the chapters. I missed Torin and was happy reading about him again. That said, the initial presentation of Doran and Larasil's Inn parts I thought were a bit boring. For Doran, I kind of wish he got developed when Torin was already there. And about Larasil's Inn, I was excited about them learning about Valkeef or communicating with him, but what actually happened I thought could have been said in 1K words instead of the 7 to 8K they were. Also, maybe a bit more could have happened with Maviola. I think she barely developed. Maybe those first planted doubts are a good start." But about Torn himself, it was a delight to read. I thought we were going to read about him already arriving to the new lands, but I enjoyed what we got, both with Doran and with Narhavia. Maybe the real rebellion was a bit too fast. I thought it might happen, but was surprised when it happened so quickly, but I enjoyed it a lot. And I really liked Torrent's relation with this healing sign throughout. What happened with Rafema was also pretty interesting. I feel sorry for her, but hope to see a lot of future development. Also, Torrens becoming Narhavia's fallen champion and getting those titles was hilarious. The titles at the end were great, especially the scene where Usame is giving Pisces a kiss on the cheek. It's perfect. But yeah, I think the Barnethian scenes were, it's typical of a pirate epic to do, rather than shorten something and just do like the bare bones minimum to get up to speed on something, on a plot point. They really do like to just delve into it and expand on it quite a bit. So I think oftentimes when you don't like a scene or a particular plot point, that can take away from it. But I think expanding on things like that has helped them make a much richer world in general. Anyways, let's go to Mafia Hamster. Edron, you wanted to speak again?
Yeah, I forgot something. That we finally get an answer who and what this skeleton was. After 15 million words or so we are in right now, we finally got an answer who built the inn, or who, or generally who built the inn, who was that guy, who was that skeleton, and casually something that happened in volume 1 is now solved. I forgot about that part. I'm thankful for that because I sometimes thought about it. Who even built that inn over there? Who was that skeleton? And yeah, now we know. Uh, and a question, why I was a bit confused, why Torun became a champion of Nahavia. Does that mean she secretly liked that she punched him? Or shouldn't he become an enemy or something? But why a champion? It would have been positive. It was sounded it was positive what he did. But that confused me a bit.
Are you talking about the titles?
Yes, yes.
His title is the hero of Nerhavia's Fallen. So the country Nerhavia's Fallen, not
Yes.
Nerhavia herself.
But why a hero?
Because the Nerhavia's Fallen hates Nerhavia. Like their whole country is named after the fact that
Yeah, oh
Nerhavia
my goodness.
died.
Yes, yes. My goodness. I really
Wow.
got confused a bit by this for a second.
It's been a while since that was a plot point that was introduced.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Edron. Last up, Nanny Red, you wanted to speak?
Yes. Hello. So a couple things with this chapter. As someone who works in the service industry, I can definitely give my thumbs up to Torin for everything that he's done so far, especially with punching his boss in the face. I think that's every serviceman, like service person's dream come true. Two things. I'm interested to see if Gothica ever meets Nevada and how many times she'll level up with that, because that's the most biggest fuck you I can ever imagine ever being. And second of all, I'm worried that Lincoln's going to try to put his little symbol in the shop to try to take over. But no, the overall, I thought these chapters were amazing. The lead up for the new lands for the Barney is interesting to say the least. I'm interested to see how far that one goes. And I'm worried about Healy because he's mana based, right? So him going into the new lands where mana gets absorbed, I'm worried. But that's about it. I don't have much to say, but thank you. That's it.
Thank you for giving your general impression. And yeah, the new lands, it's very scary for Torin. We'll see how he gets through this, but he's just ahead with a healing slime and 2 arms, I think it was.
Was that a pun?
Yes.
No, that wasn't a pun. It's not a pun. I don't pun.
He was
All
ahead,
right.
because
No.
Well,
All right.
you gotta think of it this way: they're the life and death for each other, so they're the yin and yang. So they're both the equilibrium for both sides. At least that's how I think of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does.
Okay, I'm done.
All right.
I'll mute myself.
Thank you very much for your general impression. Now, let me read out the last 2 things. Dark Time Guru says, he wiggles a bare bones. Thank you for pointing out another pun I made. Sidehammer says, everybody point and laugh at Mafia Hamster. No. Don't point and laugh at Eteron. They just forgot. And that's fine. Kazah, did you want to speak and give your general impression, or do you still have technical difficulties?
Okay, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I like these chapters a lot, and I love this arc. Finally, we got our Skelly Boy, the skeleton, the Tauren, the legend, the first innkeeper. Let's say that, and we got a lot of lore drops, kind of. With 1041, I believe we got a lore drop on who Thorin was before he was a skeleton, and we also got the answer what is draining all of the mana in the new lands, and that's going to be a new plot point, I think, in the next chapter, because I believe Slime does not like that at all. Like, that's a whole death zone for both of them. I think like Tauren is a skeleton that goes on death magic, and I don't think there's a lot of it in there. And Slime is just he was very magical. Like he needed to eat in the regular mana zones. So what about the new lands? Wouldn't it drain him twice as much? And I'm very scared of what will happen there. So I believe there is going to be some interaction with the new lands. So basically, either it's going to be Alawa's party, the Gnoll party with the ghosts, or it's going to be, well, the newly introduced parrafin and the inn, which is maybe probably more likely since Papa introduced us to them at the start of the chapter. Like, uh, that, and from my impressions, it's a very good chapters. I very like them. So the way Thorin thinks is like he was born to work, right? So he kind of just fixated on that mostly. Like when he was at the dungeon, he made his own and his own zombie Aaron, and then he kind of took off. He kind of how do I pronounce it? So like sliced off. Hmm, not really, but he tried to slice off Aaron to be more himself, I guess, to more Thorin. And when he got at Askerash, he was getting beaten to the pulp, and at 1040, we really saw him how he thinks, like how he thinks like about his life mostly. He's very work related. Like he thinks about undead socialism as economy and so on, and like job applications everywhere. Even the serving under Naravia as a well, I don't know if yes, temporary workplace, and I I love how like from the start he always thought about his life only from the work perspective. That's what I really most like. And also, when will we see another Tauren, like the woman Tauren? I believe it's still in there, right? I don't really know about that, but I think that's it for most of it. Most of my impressions. I still got a lot of questions, but I guess will be answered in the next chapter.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think the woman Tauren is definitely still in there, as we saw last chapter. I know we didn't see very much of her this chapter. I do wonder if we'll get more next chapter as well, but I think we will probably, but who knows? That being said, all right, I think we got all the general impressions. Let's move on to some more focused questions. Let's just start out with the first one. Or actually, no. Let's start out with this one. So they're going into the new lands. What's going to happen to Healing Slime? It's a mana death zone. Will he be able to survive? So this is like the big issue with going into the new lands right now for Tauren and the Healing Slime. I'm pretty sure Tauren has a skill that will help him regenerate. Like he has limited regeneration. So I'm pretty sure that will help him survive, but the Healing Slime has nothing like that, right? Healing Slime is a purely magical being too who isn't very powerful, you know. He's not like a dragon who could generate his own mana and just survive in the new lands, I'm sure. Healing Slime just a little slime. And he's gonna start dying, I think. I really hope he doesn't die, though. I could see a future when Healing Slime dies, and this is how Tauren goes back to killing all the living, and this was all a 3-arc tragedy of Tauren losing his best friend. And that would be awful. That would make me very sad. But other than that, I hope he doesn't die, and I hope Tauren saves his... I hope Tauren saves him. Anyways, Jotham, you wanted to speak?
I think the start of the chapter maybe answer for it. So what's his name? Like Larcel was trying to set up an inn there, and she was trying to create like limited areas where you can regenerate mana. Also, like the amount of time they put it in those with Larcel and his second, Thorin may be heading to that area. Like, why will Papa like just dedicate 20% of the chapter to them? She's not gonna reuse them. Like that plot point, like where they want to set up area where you can come in, generate your mana, and go back into the area. So I think the Torn or Healing Slime, that may be solution she's hinting towards them. Or maybe Torn is heading towards that area. That's what I think. But I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys think about it.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think the issue is that Healing Slam also is just like mana negative in general. Like we saw that Healing Slime really needed to eat a bunch of like goods, reagents and stuff to even survive outside of the mana drain. So I think that is going to be an issue. Anyway, Sidehammer, you wanted to speak?
There's no way that pirate introduces or put the hell yeah, put the page all of those magical ingredients that Healing Slime needs to live to not pay it off with some kind of tragedy in this next part, unfortunately, or at least daring do or the thrill or the motive. Yeah, I'm losing my big words. Anyways, it's going to be a big motivator for the next chapter. I feel. What I don't remember, you guys got to help me out. Is Torin doesn't need a generator anymore, right? What generates his magic now? He used to need mana rich zone. I knew that.
He's got a limited regeneration skill that helps him just regenerate and live, basically.
Okay. But even he's going to start breaking down.
Yeah.
He's in a negative zone. So they both got to get out of there. Anyway.
Yeah, and it does require less mana than before because they Azekras removed some very mana hungry spell from him, but it's not gonna make him like able to survive perfectly in the zone.
Thank you, Mr. Nobody. Yeah. So they both got to get out of there pretty dang quick. Personally, if Naravia still very close, that's gonna be. I think she's leaving though. But if Naravia has left a contingent, to watch for their return, or to guard that area, then they're gonna have some problems. I see, but I think it's definitely gonna be a main talking point in the next chapter. Personally,
All right, thank you very much, Sidehammer. And yeah, I think it's going to be a very big part of the next chapter is just dealing with um the mana drain. I mean, Torrent's literally a head and 2 arms right now. Like, he's not going to be helping Healing Slime at all either. They need to find bones to repair him. They need to get out of the mana negative zone so they don't die. You know?
You could say they need a helping hand.
Oh God, Edoron, why have you done this to me? All right, Wally says, I like where your brain goes, Wiggles, in terms of, I'm pretty sure that was a comment in terms of Healing Slime dying and Tauren then going on to his path of genocide again. Which, I don't like that thought. Thank you very much. I don't like that thought. Nanny Red says, no, shh, don't put that out to the world. Healy has to live. Baby got to survive. Yes. I like this thought. This is a much better thought. Edoron says, Healing Slime equal Flower Girl. I don't like this thought. Bad thoughts. Bad thoughts. Nanny Red says, no, I went full on Burrito when I read those chapters. On side note, I'm glad Tauren didn't go to Chandler. I think so too. I'm very glad for that. Screw Peril Chandler. All my homies hate as Crash. Dark Time Guru says, Tauren recognizes a perilous situation when he sees one. Huh? That was a good one. Kainia says, it'll probably be an important problem for a while. Either they end up in the fortress where you'll always is and remain inside until a solution is found, or they find that solution outside after many problems. But I very much doubt the Healing Slime dies short term. It has become a fan favorite, and we would get too heartbroken. Oh yes, I'm remembering all these times where Hard Habit didn't kill a fan favorite. But you're probably right. Healing Slime probably won't die, but I think it's a distinct possibility at the end of the day. Kazah says, oh hey, there are a lot of dead guys dying endlessly. Maybe there he will find the bones and meet the Yulawis. Maybe they're noobly friendly. I don't know. Their job economy, a new face after thousands of years. Their job economy there, it's pretty bad. They're constantly just like getting up and dying. I don't know if their economy can support a brand new skeleton in the mix. I think it might go poorly for Tauren if he finds that fortress. But hey, that's just my thought. Sidehammer said, Tauren used to be friends with Pecona. I sort of think that Pecona would not be friends with Tauren anymore.
Nope.
Just a random thought. I don't think Tauren and Pecona would get along really well anymore. Kazah says, though feels like a toxic office. Yes, I think their economy and job environment over there is pretty darn toxic. Might have something to do with the constantly dying and being reborn. That could be part of it, I think. Alright. Courier says you underestimate cultivator brain wiggles. No, I'm mostly thinking that Pecona will want to kill Tauren. Mostly that, just maybe. Kazah says Tauren did take Pecona as a new personality for himself. Yeah, kinda. He is now a sword dancer. I don't know if he's emulating her exactly, but also have you guys noticed that Tauren's previous life he was polymath? I'm not sure if he was actually a polymath, but he certainly seemed to be just very good at whatever he did and just naturally talented, which it does make me wonder about who exactly he was, the Zenkeeper. Like maybe he was part of the first what are they called? The first Antanium Wars. But we'll see. I think we're actually going to get more information on him with Torrhen's storyline in the future, which will be very interesting. Anyways, well, he says Torrhen is in his current state with slime kind of feels like the squirrel from Ice Age, ready to unexpectedly discover / solve whatever's going on with the mana negativity in the new lands. I could totally see that, though I don't know if there is an easy solution. I think there's, even if you figure out what's causing it, I don't think it's going to be like snap your finger and solve it, you know? Kazah says he specialized at everything, and that reminded me of Polymaths of old. That's true. And Kazah said, imagine Torrhen digging up Seath and blowing up. Yes, imagine that. Nanny Red says, does Torrhen know what happens at sea? And if he sees Naren, is he going to point out that's not Aaron? No, I don't think Torrhen knows anything about what happened at sea. I'm pretty sure wait, when did he escape As Crash's castle? Was it at the very end of Volume 9? While that was all happening? I can't remember. Sledhammer says, do we think there's a special reason Torrhen started dreaming of his previous life right when Narhavia showed up and told him his previous life is important? I think the general reason he started dreaming about his previous life is just because of all the changes happening with the Deadlands and what happened during the solstice. I think that's the reason. I'm not 100%. It could be something else. Kazah says, also, Stellar Ivory. Torrhen is now stellar after he punched both Refinement and Narhavia. Ah, yes. He's super stellar. All right. Let's move on to another question in this general vein. Will Torrhen meet Yulawi's, and what will happen? And will Torrhen recognize Yulawi's and vice versa? So, yeah, they're heading into the new lands now, and I think my biggest prediction for this arc before it started happening was Torrhen would run into the Silver Swords at some point in the new lands, and it'll be a big thing that happens. I really wanted Torrhen to, like, one of my big wants for Torrhen in general is just to meet up with old people that he wronged or who wronged him, like Aaron, in the past, and just like talk to them now that he's not such a psychopath killer, you know? And he's actually grown and changed from when he was just following his base undead instincts mostly. And so that's really actually something I would love to see, is him meeting the Silver Swords. I'm not sure if either side would really recognize the other as anything more than just vague, because on Torrhen's side he was attacked by these three, so he probably remembers that, but he didn't interact with them significantly during the whole S-Film arc. But yeah, I really do hope they do meet up and just talk instead of try and kill each other. But we all know he's a skeleton in their adventures, so the most likely thing is they're going to try and kill him if they meet up. Kazah says, wait, are Yulawi's party at the ruins before or after Narhavia's story? Can we check dates of both chapters? So, the Narhavia part of the chapter happens 1 month after the Palace of Fates happens. Meanwhile, Yulawi's and his party went to that ruin like right before the Palace of Fates happened. So it's definitely, when Yulawi's gets to the ruin is like definitely a month before Torrhen enters the new lands. That's for sure. But that doesn't mean Yulawi's and his party can't come back. You know, they're eventually going to they have the potential to eventually come back to the ruins and do stuff there. But Yeah, the initial ruins finding was a while ago for Torrent's timeline. Anyways, Mafia Hamster, you want to speak?
Yes. I think Torrent is definitely gonna meet the Silver Swords, and he knows Jalos. He will definitely recognize him. I think even in the last, it was hinted in the first chapter that he has a thing against knights. So there's definitely something there, and I'm excited where this is going. I mean, we just found there is a crypt with still, I don't know if there are still relics down there. I think they took all of them. But there are ghosts down there and a lot of undead energy apparently still down there. And yeah, I think this is where it's going to be heading, where he is gonna end up in these ruins. And he, I don't know if it's even, could Torrent join the Silver Swords? No, it's just a brain fart of mine right now that Torrent somehow joins the Silver Swords. I mean, if they take goblins and Intiniums, why not a skeleton? But yeah, no, that's just a brain fart. But they are definitely gonna meet, and maybe Torrent is even gonna do something about these adventurers. These rogue adventurers. They're also around in this area. So yeah, there's lots of stuff that could happen. Many opportunities to find for him a new job. That yeah.
New job. Yay, new
And
jobs! Woohoo!
yes, because with the script law, that would have been a dead end job, you know.
Absolutely. There's no upper advancement with that Crypt King. It just wants, it only wants
Absolutely dead end.
it'll just keep using you up until you're dead and gone. But I will say, I am very intrigued by this thought of Torrent joining the Silver Swords. I think you're onto something good here. This sounds. I really want this to happen now. I really want it to happen.
Would kind of be awesome, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be
But
great.
does he deserve that?
Torrent deserves the world.
Eh.
Yes, he deserves the world. How dare you? Okay, I'm gonna read off some further comments. Kanye says them meeting is almost certain, I think. The question is how much time it will take. If they will meet up soon or if he will end up with other factions first. I do think Torn will recognize him. He has perfect memory and that time was important. He'll always recognizing him will depend on if he can find a good disguise or not. Yeah, he's disguised right now as a head and 2 arms, so I think that's a pretty good disguise, honestly. How many skeleton heads are really very recognizable compared to every other skeleton head that's ever existed? Kazah says, Torin can't really join the Silver Swords, though. I feel he will punch Ilawi's. Sometimes Ilawi's deserves a good punch to the noggin, okay? Sometimes I think that would be fine. It's not like there's that much up there to hurt anyways, so I think a good punch, it'll serve you always just fine, you know? Nani Red says, we have to remember that Torn is literally a head and arms, and healing is working as his legs. Like a mishmash snowman. Yes, a mishmash snowman, exactly. Kazah says he did punch Norman. He did. I just realized Norman, Doran, Torin. Norman, Doran, Torin. Huh. Interesting. Kania says the purple eyes are a dead giveaway. They would remember him for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure the undead eyes come in all different colors. I don't think purple's unique, particularly unique.
I think Doran had red eyes at the time, unfortunately.
Kazah says Seath Munchin Torin. Also, and Ninny Red says, "Wait, don't forget the rest of Silver Swords. They met in the dungeon. Yeah, the rest of Silver Swords would definitely recognize him. But I was mostly talking about Ilawi's and those two, and the other two. Sorry, I'm blanking on their names. Feline and Dawil. Why am I forgetting his name? I think he's the best Silver Sword, but I forgot his name. Wally says the skeleton, goblin, Antinium, human noble, half-elf, dwarf, half-dwarf, and Dratian party probably beats whatever shock value the half-seekers had in their heyday. Okay, I will give you that. Yeah, I will give you that. They probably have quite the leg up on the half-seekers if they get torn in. Kazah says, do you think we will meet stronger monsters in New Lands? Absolutely. 100%. We're going to meet some stronger monsters eventually. Like, no doubt about it. All right. I think we'll move on to the next question after I read out the last two. Kazah says, gold rank monsters with Seath cores. I don't think there's any such thing as a gold rank monster being powered by Seath. I'm pretty sure anything powered by Seath, or however you want to say it, is going to be named rank at least, because it's just so powerful. Okay, yeah, named ranked. Yeah, named ranked, I could see that, definitely. All right, let's move on to another question. What the frick has happened to Rafima? What did Nerhavia, the slimy snake Nerhavia, whose evil tentacles have reached out and touched Rafima, what has she done? What has she done to Rafima? What? Because I said she painted her black. Yes, I think you're right. Nerhavia took out some paints, just colored in the scales. Now they're black, and she's evil. Evil Rafima. I think it might be a little bit more than just painting her. Oh man. Because says that's not your dragon. Alright. I think it's probably a little bit more complicated than Kazah just says that's Drafima. Action Kermit says Rafima needs a hug. Someone should make it happen. Exactly. Now, if Nerhavia were to hug Rafima, I think that would go a long way to showing that she's not evil. Just a little bit. Nani Rez says, didn't she take her dark side?
I would regret it. Yes, sir. That worked.
Nani Red, I think you're unmuted on accident. It's okay, it happens. But Nani Red said, didn't she take her dark side? And yeah, that leads into my answer to this. I think that Nerhavia took part of Rafima's being and copied her somehow. Like, basically she took Rafima's shadow or something like that and just made a copy of Rafima to morph into her own being. But let's hear from everyone else. Edoron, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, the shadow theory is also what I had in mind when I read about it, and yeah, it's basically an evil contract, the same as not the same as Belavier's contracts, but probably at the same almost at the same strength. and to get out of there is, oh my god, that's gonna be hard. But I also lean into the dark side shadow theory.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree.
I mean, the dark side has cookies, so.
No, they don't have cookies. This is a lie spread by their propaganda. They do not have cookies. Alright. I thank you, Waffy Hamster. Wally says, she got turned into a crybaby from the looks of things. Oh my goodness. Sidehammer says, the Mersha of dragons. Okay, apparently this is Rafima hating hour right now. Sidehammer also says, and was I the only one who thought she just got colored? I don't know. Some other people probably thought that. We don't actually know what happened to her, though. Kazah says, imagine being enslaved by the horde tyrant. I will cry too. She wanted power. She believed her mental was her weakness. Sir Nurhavia took her weakness with her. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Nobody says, the black stuff was pulled out from Rafina, so it's an aspect, soul, something of her, that turned into a clone of her. And yeah, I think most people agree with that clone theory. Nani Red says, made by Gary with whatever's made in the New Lands. Cookies. No. No cookies. No cookies are in the New Lands right now. I'm pretty sure they're all starving without cookies. They're cookieless. Nobody says, I don't hate Rafima, I pity her. That's probably a lot better than... Anyways. Kazah says, worm cookies. Ugh. Ugh. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Alright. On to another question. We're just going through these super fast. We know that Nurhavia is going to Chandra to get a nation, but where do you think she will go? What will her first target be, and will she succeed? So yeah, we actually got a lot of information on what Nurhavia's plans are this chapter, and how she's basically looking for a basis to start up again. And she's going to Chandra to do that, to be less in the spotlight and hold power bases there. Kazah says, Nurhavia fallen, obviously. She got a lot of her things in there. And Nani Red says, I hope she goes to Pervy King, let him suffer. And I think you're right, Kazah, that Nurhavia's fallen is definitely the really obvious choice, and she's made comments in the past saying she wants to go after Nurhavia's fallen and take it over and just punish the people there, which makes sense. I just wonder if there's going to be a somewhat fake out here that happens, because at the end of the day, Nurhavia's fallen is the most obvious place, and it could... You know what? No, I'm just going to say Nurhavia's fallen is like 99.9% chance where she's going to go, because Floss is weakened Nurhavia's fallen too. They're at a low point. Yasame is a very weak queen whose internal court politics are on a knife edge right now. So everything is set up for Nurhavia to come sweep in and take power again. So I do think that's just very likely the place she'll go. But I kind of wonder if there's somewhere else. The Pervy King, Peric, yes. He definitely seems like a place that I think every reader would rejoice in seeing him dead and Nurhavia take over his place. But otherwise, all he says in regards to Nurhavia's fallen as the place, Wally says the most contracts to leverage, probably. And yeah, there's probably some ancient contracts still there too. Kazah says Nurhavia and Floss contract. Nani Red says Try adding her to his harem. Let's see how well that goes. New puppet achievement. I think he wouldn't get the proposition out of his lips before Ostaval cut his head off. Kazah says, or Nerhavia and Empire of Sands. Ooh, Empire of Sands would be interesting. Dark Time Goo says, maybe Nerhavia's minions got their hands on Toreb's and Pelican's corpses. I don't know how they would have, though. But then again, Nerhavia is Nerhavia. And Sidehammer says, Nerhavia's return. Yes, that's what she'll rename Nerhavia's Fallen. Wahoo! Okay. I think we'll do one more question.
Ooh, can you do the last one?
Okay. Yeah.
I really want to hear the
once-
opinion of everybody.
Oh, one last question from Kazah. Horns against Nerhavia? That's another reason I think that the horns might, that Nerhavia might actually go against Nerhavia's Fallen, is because with the horns there, that sets up another plot they can participate in while they're there, help deal with Nerhavia's antics in Nerhavia's Fallen. Wow, it's going to get confusing. It's going to get very confusing when we start doing those chapters. Anyways, let's read off the last question. I'm going to let one more response. Then we'll do the last question.
I can post it.
No. I got it. Donnie Red says, Bone Boy is going to get a skill like Favor of the Queen, and Colt is going to laugh his butt off. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with Torin and being the hero of Nerhavia's Fallen. Anyways, let's do the last question. So, Torin's redemption arc has started, but should he be forgiven? He killed a lot of people. So, back in volume 8, Torin started getting bullied a lot. Back in volume 7, Torin started getting bullied a lot and by his fellow undead, and he kind of learned the value of life in a lot of ways. And I think him protecting Healing Slime was like the big transformation point. And I don't blame him really for what he did early on in the story, because he's literally an undead. His whole nature, and this is something we know for a fact, his whole nature tells him to kill the living. This is just something that's hard programmed into undead, and it's really difficult for them to overcome that. So I don't really blame him for wanting to kill people and killing people in general. It's just like, that's what undead do. Him gaining sentience and gaining knowledge and perspective and finally figuring out, okay, that's actually not what I should be doing all the time. That's good. That's like showing his growth. That's showing that he's growing up. So I think it's okay that he's being redeemed. I don't think he should be forgiven by someone else who knows about his crimes. But if he explains why he did it, if he can show that he's different, I do think people should be able to move on from that. Anyways, Kazah says, to be honest, he's a kid. He is 1 to 3 years old. Character class gonna change him a lot. Absolutely. I think if a human child was given the power to do whatever they want and was able to level up, like a human 3-year-old suddenly got an adult's body and was given the ability to level up, I don't think they would do any better than Torin did. I think they would go around killing random things too, because they're just not they don't have empathy. They don't develop empathy that early on, and it's very difficult to properly judge someone like that. Nani Riz says, well, he has a heart now, a living heart named Healy. One of the things I would love to see is actually Healing Slime and Tauren merging into one being. That would just be interesting to me and how it like works out. But I don't think it will ever actually happen. Kazah says, what are the chances that Larisil would adopt Tauren? Adopt him? Probably pretty low. I don't think she's gonna adopt him. Valtherain says, what is better, to be born good or to overcome your evil nature through great effort? Skyrim quotes? Kanye says, redemption and forgiveness is a big part of the story and that almost everyone can achieve it, even if not easily. We already have Rags and his tribe that killed a good number of people at the beginning, and Kilbukish and the Tinium hives have also killed a ton of people. Yeah, that's very true. Their redemption is integral to TWI. Second chances, all that. Alright, Mafia Answer, you wanted to speak?
Yes. Personally, I obviously want him to be forgiven, but I would like to play devil's advocate now and say that he is 1 or 2 years old. That shtick doesn't go go with goblins and Intinium, who are also 1 or 2 years old when they have to decide killing or no killing. I mean, okay, often they don't have to decide; it will be decided for them. But age is difficult in world because, yeah, we have again Intinium and goblins who are really quickly growing up, and even though second chances are important, I mean, there's always reasons behind stuff, and he really enjoyed killing. He started the moth attack in Liscor. It was actually him who was smashing all the eggs and not the poor adventurers, if I recall correctly. And I mean, he robbed and killed, made war on a whole city. He did a lot of bad stuff. And just because he suddenly got a Kara class, I mean, I don't know if anybody has seen Buffy, but what Torren maybe needs is to feel what he did, actually, and yeah, that's why Healing Slime probably has to be Flower Girl, because to really be forgiven, he needs to understand what he did. He needs to lose something to understand what he really did. And yeah, that's why to be just forgiven is for me a bit it's not enough to just forgive him because he just doesn't know any better. So, but I hope he will be forgiven at some point, of course. But redemption arc can't be like, and he is forgiven. Same goes with Escourage. He's also on an arc that people start to like him because we know much of him. But Escourage killed thousands of people. Thousands upon thousands. And people need to have to be punished for when they do something bad. And that goes for Torren as well. I mean, he's suffering right now. But is that enough? Maybe, yes. Who knows? I'm excited to hear from you guys.
Thank you, Mafia Answer. I don't necessarily agree that someone needs to be punished because they've done something wrong. Like, it's hard to explain. It's mostly just that it's just that Torin didn't just not know what he was doing, right? He didn't know what he was doing in that he just was basically following his normal instincts that told him this is how I should be living. It's not just that, it's also that he has actively changed since then. Like, he's not going around murdering anyone right now. He's trying his best to be just a normal person without killing anyone. And that's very important too. That shows that he's changed a lot.
That's true. Yeah. But
So yeah, I just think
take
that
what
go ahead.
to take what you said with the merging. Just had a thought. Just like in Chainsaw Man, that healing slime could maybe sacrifice himself to save Torin and be the mana source he needs to survive or something like this. And that's how Torin is gonna get his conscience. And they would merge, and somehow Healing Slime would become Torin's Jiminy Cricket, and he would be gone, and Torin would learn a lesson. That could happen.
It could happen. It could. But yeah, I think the fact that he's trying his hardest to not kill anyone and he's actually shown marked, complete change of who he is as a person is much
No
more
remorse.
important. It's
He
much
doesn't
more important than being punished for what he did before.
But he doesn't feel remorse. He doesn't care that he killed those people. There was I can't recall if there was something. There was no word that what he did was wrong. Just he knows now that it. I mean, if he could get away with it, he would still kill people. But he's undercover. He's on a run. He's not just doing it because.
I mean, he had the opportunity to kill people constantly, going from once he escaped as Crash, but he never once tried to do it. I mean, we'll see this next chapter if he just starts randomly killing people in the New Lands, because he really could just get away with killing people whenever he wants in the New Lands. There's no law or anything there. But I really doubt that's where he's going to go from here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to read out some responses now. Kazah says Torn and Barnethi also share kind of similar positions. They're opposite, sons of innkeepers. One is neglected, the other is cared for. They definitely meeting each other in a single place where this is enough mana for Slimy. Torn deserves love. All right, I'll give you. That's a very interesting comparison. The Torn and Barnethi are like very similar. Like, I'll give you that. That's something I didn't consider before, and I like it. Nani Red says, yes, that's what I said. Sons of Inns in their mother's shadows, trying to show what they can do. Yin to the other Yang. He's taken his mother's fire. His eyes are turning into magic fire. I wonder which flame he's going to get. He's got his father's bones. Kenia says, Aaron becoming witch remorse could be a part of this, helping others feel and understand that remorse and properly atone. But in his case, I think he will find that remorse by himself eventually. And Kazah says he can't really kill at Newlands because he's defenseless. I'm talking about once he's not defenseless. Like, if he ever is not defenseless there, will he start killing again? We'll see. Sidehammer says he was actively rewarded for killing things as well by levels. And yeah, that's a very good point. A lot of learned behavior is because you're rewarded for this behavior. And the leveling system is the ultimate reward. You're physically getting stronger for doing this action. And it's like, yeah, that's excellent point, Sidehammer. Nani Red says Healy can use Torrens' hands to poke people's eyes out.
My God.
While correct, Healy Slime would never ever do that ever. Redding Quill says, wanted to speak. Go ahead, Redding Quill.
Yeah. So Mafia Hamster was saying that if Torn could get away with it, he would have been killing people. But Torn has had the ability to disguise himself with powerful illusions this entire time he's been away from Ascrash, and he could have been going on a murder spree. You know, he could have killed Doran. He could have killed Doran's like family member that was like messing with him. He could have killed and the alchemist. He could have killed anyone in any of the cities he visited, and he didn't do it. And he was actively stopping Maviola Maviola from doing it herself. So I would say that Torin has graduated from kill everything to level up, and I'd say that he's never quite actually been at the kill everything to level up, except for maybe at the end of servicing Aaron when he was down in the dungeon, and he was just killing people. I just think that Torin under Doran's service in the shop really showed what kind of a person Torin is, and also punching Nerevia in the face because she was evil and he didn't want to work for her anymore, showed what kind of a person he is. So I don't think that Torin is just like some kind of murder hobo that kills people to level up and because he like hates the living. I think he's definitely moved past that and becoming a character class for taking care of the Healy slime has probably given him a lot more empathy than he experienced before because your classes change you. So
And what about remorse?
remorse? I mean, where would he have learned that from?
That's a good point.
Like honestly, he's not had any teachers that could teach him stuff. Toddlers don't feel remorse when they push their friend over and steal their friend's toys. You know, you could look at little toddlers and say, oh, they're little murder hobos that would kill if they were any stronger or had any tools to do it. But they don't, they haven't been taught right from wrong yet. So I'd say that, remorse is something you learn through experience or being taught it, so.
Good point. Just to be clear, I'm loving Torun. I wish him all the happiness of the world. I'm playing devil's advocate here right now.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just to be clear.
Okay.
I want
All
him
right.
to be happy.
Yeah.
But these are questions I think has to be asked
Yeah.
because you really killed a lot of people. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's actually been so long ago that I've forgotten how many people he killed because like I don't even remember.
And he
It
was
was it like what was it like 10 million words ago?
he was also a highwayman. He just killed some randos who were on streets and carriages, and he killed a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with Mr. Wiggles that you can punishing is really for the person that was wronged. It's not for making the person that did the wrong become better. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have so much recidivism in the United States because we really do punish all the people a lot. We're not like the Nordic countries where jail is like a nice vacation that you can't leave from. It's like jail sucks. You're a slave, and you'd think that if we punish these people harder, they're just going to become model citizens, and it doesn't work. So I don't know. I think Torn would have to be under someone that is good and understands that Torn's an actual living being with thoughts and stuff. Because a lot of people, like Aaron, never knew that Torn was smart. She just thought that she was just some skeleton that followed instructions. So, I mean, if Torn finds someone that really understands what kind of person he is and that he's a skeleton, but he's got thoughts and stuff, and he likes to work and do good work for people, then I think he can really grow and become a better person. And the fact that he's away from Maviola is probably a good thing anyway, because Maviola is it's not good to be around someone that's like what you were like before, because it's more likely to drag you backwards than you to drag them forwards.
Ooh, that's also a good point.
Yeah,
Maviola is definitely still in the murder hobo phase of development.
yeah, definitely. I don't know if she's gonna get out of it because all of Askarash's creations are like kind of crazy. I think the necromancer that makes you kind of influences what kind of the skeleton you're going to be, and Ashcrash is like nuts. So, um, and Pisces is like just arrogant, but he's pretty much a good guy. So, and we do see that Pisces is still influencing Torn because he got the Stellar Ivory upgrade from beating the dragon. Um, so yeah.
Good points all around.
All right, let me read off some final comments. Nanny says he did try to actively kill Scotty because he saw their similarities and saw how much Scotty was loved and just lost his will to kill after. His time at the Necromancer Castle did change him. After getting taken apart and tortured countless times by chosen over again and wanting to protect Healy.
Well, that was
Tiny
a
is-
Pokemon fight. That doesn't count.
That's true. That's true. Kania says, it is kind of interesting that Torn learned as much as he did from Aaron, even with the way that he was treated. He has been remembering a lot of things about her and comparing her and Nerhavia. And yeah, Torn, despite how he was treated by Aaron, Torn's biggest influence has still been Aaron. It's his number one influence in his life was Aaron. And I don't think that's ever going to change really until he's, gone 30 years without meeting her or something like that. Nanny Red says, it does count. All right, that is it though for this after chapter discussion. It's been about an hour and a half. It was a great discussion. We got through a lot of stuff. We got through a lot of different parts of the chapters. I think we missed a couple things, but I think we did really good discussion. I'm glad everyone joined us. Anyways, this was the after chapter discussion for 10.40 and 10.41T.